Hey guys, welcome back to my channel AG Motion Designs, and in today's video we are going to create this intro animation inside of After Effects without using any third-party plugin. So if you're new to this channel, then please consider to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon to get more updates. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. So here we are in Adobe After Effects. So I have created this composition over here. Height width is 1920 by 180 only. Now press Ctrl Y on your keyboard to create one solid background, and I'm going to choose red color for this background. I'll hit OK and then hit OK, and let's lock this layer. Now select your text tool and type whatever text you want. I'm going to type motion like this. Then select this text, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Now I'm going to select my ellipse tool, and I don't want any stroke, so I'll delete this stroke, and I'm going to choose white color and hit OK. And by holding shift, I'm going to create one ellipse over here, small ellipse only. Now select this ellipse, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the add menu and choose repeater. Now go to the repeater 1 and go to the transform repeater 1, and let's decrease the X position. Let's increase the copies somewhere around like this. Now let's minimize this repeater 1. Simply select this and hit Ctrl D on your keyboard to duplicate it. Now we have repeater 2. So go inside this repeater 2, and copies we are going to make it half, let's say 12, and go to the transform repeater 1. Let's change X position to 0 and increase the Y position somewhere around like this. Let's decrease the copies a little bit more. Yep. Now select the shape layer, hit Ctrl D, press V, and I'm going to move this one over here, and hit Ctrl D, move this one over here, hit Ctrl D and move this one over here. Okay, like this. Now select those shape layers and press P for position, create one keyframe, go to around, let's say 6 seconds, and now we have to add some movement. So I'll select this, I'll move this thing over here, move this thing over here, this thing let's move over here, and this thing should be over here. So if we hit play, I'll get this random movement for this text, I mean this shape layers. Okay, so simply select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'll call it as extra element and hit OK, and let's lock this layer and hide also. Now we have to animate this text. So for that, what we will do, we will select our rectangle tool and we will create one mask like this. Okay, make sure that it should cover this one text or like this. Now go to the mask 1, go to the mask path, and we will create one keyframe at the mask path. Select your selection tool. Let's simply double click to select this entire mask, and by holding shift, I'll move this handle over here. Now let's go to around 2 seconds. Simply double click on this again, and I'm going to move this from here to here. So if you hit play, we will get this kind of stuff. Now zoom in a little bit, select this last keyframe, and let's move this to 1.10 frames. So if you see, we will get this kind of animation. Now increase the mask feathers up to 20, so we'll get this kind of animation like this. Now select this and go to the character menu, and with the help of the speaker, I'm going to select this color over here. Now select this text, go to the effect and presets panel and search for drop shadow effect and double click to apply. Now increase the softness like this, so we will get this kind of stuff. Now if you see, we will get this kind of animation. Now zoom in a little bit, let's go to around, let's say 10 frames. Select this text, hit Ctrl D, let's move this over here, and we will delete this drop shadow. And now we will go to the character menu. I don't want any fill, so I'll delete this fill, and I want stroke, and I'm going to choose let's say 2 pixels stroke, and let's try to move this thing over here like this. So we'll get this kind of animation, first this and then this. Now select this, hit Ctrl D again, and let's move this over here, and let's decrease the stroke width like this. Now select this, hit Ctrl D again, and let's move this over here, and we will select this text, we will hit enter, and we will call it as mask and hit OK. And this time I'm going to delete this stroke, and I'm going to add fill, and I'm going to choose black color. Now this is going to act like my mask, so let's hit U so unreveal all the keyframes. Now I'll select my pen tool, and I don't want any fill, so let's delete this fill. And for the stroke, I'm going to choose white color and simply hit OK. And from here to here, I'm going to create one stroke, and so stroke width I'm going to choose 2 pixels. And let's go inside this add menu and add repeater again. Go to the repeater, go to the transform repeater one, and let's change this exposition over here and increase the number of copies like this. Okay, this is done. Now select this, hit enter, and let's call it as lines and hit OK. Bring this after this mask, select this, press F4 and choose alpha mask. So if you see this animation, now we will get this and then this. Now I'll select this sixth layer, which is our main layer. I'll hit Ctrl D and I'll bring this layer at the top, and I'll simply delete this drop shadow effect, and I'm going to add white color to it like this, and press U. Let's delete all the keyframes, then press M so we can see this mask, and delete this mask also. Okay, like this. Now I'll select this and I'll move this over here, and I'll go to the effect and presets panel, and I'm going to search for linear wipe effect and simply double click to apply. And with the help of this, what you can do, if you let's enable this icon only, sorry, not this and this, so we can see only both these layers. If I increase this transition composition, I'll get this kind of animation. Okay, but we want this animation in opposite direction, so wipe angle I'm going to choose -90 instead of +90, so animation will start from here. So initially let's make this up to, let's say, 71, and let's create one keyframe. If you want, then you can add feathers also up to 20 and hit U, and let's disable this things like this. And at this point I want completion, so I'll decrease this value like this. So I'll get this kind of text reveal animation. Okay, like this. Now let's select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as text reveal and hit OK. Now press S. Let's create one keyframe initially. Let's go somewhere around, let's say, 4 seconds, and let's make this 110, which means basically we will get one scaling animation for this. Or let's make this 120 also, like this. Now select this text reveal, press P for position, alt click on the stopwatch and apply wiggle effect, and let's type 2,2. So along with this we will get one wiggle animation also. Now right click, new, and create one null object like this. Move this over here, select this text reveal and make it apparent with this null one. Go few frame forward somewhere around over here. I'll select this null one, I'll press S, go few frame forward, and let's increase the size of it like this. Okay, so we will get this animation. Now select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, zoom in a little bit, select this graph. By holding shift, I'll move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here like this. Now select those keyframes and let's move this over here. So if we see, we will get something like this. Okay, and now let's enable this extra layer also. We will get this kind of animation. Now press Ctrl Y on your keyboard and let's choose white color background and hit OK. Now go to the effect and presets panel and type bubble. So you will get this CC bubble in simulation folder, and simply double click to apply. So you will get this bubble animation also like this. Okay, and make this bubble also parent with this null one. Make sure that your current time indicator is at the start and make it apparent with this null one. So we will get this kind of animation, and if you want, then you can select those extra elements also and you can make it apparent with this null one. So along with this, they are also going to now increase the scale. So if you see this animation, we will get something like this. Okay, and let's select this, press S, let's go over here, let's decrease the size a little bit like this. Now Let's go over here. Now I'm going to select my text tool, and let's go somewhere around over here, and let's type motion text again. Now select this text, press Ctrl Alt Home. Make sure that you are at this point. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S and let's try to adjust the size of it like this. Now press V and let's move this over here. Go to the character menu. Let's delete this fill and choose stroke, and stroke width I'm going to choose 2 pixels. Now select this and hit Ctrl D, and by holding shift I'm going to move this over here. Hit Ctrl D, let's move this over here. Hit Ctrl D and let's move this over here. Okay, and now select all of them and make it apparent with this null one. Okay, like this. Now after that, let's at this point, let's somewhere around over here I want them to start animate, so I'll move them over here. Hit page down button 2 times, select this, move this over here, move this over here, and move this over here like this. Okay, and if you want, then you can take a little bit extra time to animate that also. And let's go over here at the start, press P, create for position, create 1 keyframe, go somewhere around over here. Let's select this text, let's move this over here, select this, let's move this over here, select this, let's move this over here, and select this and let's move this over here. So along with this reveal we will get a little bit of animation also. So if you see this animation from the start, first this and then this. Now after that, let's select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'll call it as oops. Let's cancel it. Select this red white background also, select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'll name it as part 1 and hit OK. So this is all about our part 1. Now we have to focus on part 2, so let's hide this and lock this layer. Now we will focus on part 2. For part 2 I'll select my text tool and I'll type design text, oops, and for this one I'm going to choose stroke like this. Select this, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically like this. Go to the character menu and stroke width I'm going to choose 1 pixels. Okay, then select this text and hit Ctrl D, and this time I'm going to delete the stroke and I'm going to choose black color, or instead of black I'll choose something like this. I think this looks good to me. Now after that, we have 1 stroke layer and 1 layer with the fill, so I'll select this, right click, create and shape from text, and I'll delete this text layer. Now select this design text, go to the contents and go to the add menu and choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this end property 0, create 1 keyframe, zoom in a little bit, go to around let's say 2 seconds maybe, and let's make this 100. Okay, like this. Or if you think this animation is quite slow, then you can move this up to 1.20 frames also. Okay, now what we will do, I'll select this design text and I'll make it apparent with this design outline like this. Now select this design outline, press S for scaling option, and initially let's increase the size of it like this. Let's hide this thing over here. Now let's go to the start, press P for position, create 1 keyframe, hit U. At this point the animation is ending, so I'll select this, press V, and let's move this over here somewhere around like this, and let's go to the start and let's move this thing over here. So if you see, we will get this kind of animation. Let's move this up to 2 seconds only like this. Now after that, let's go somewhere around over here. I'll in middle of it, I'll press S, let's create 1 keyframe, hit U. Let's go somewhere around over here, or instead of that we will simply delete this scaling keyframe. Instead of that, right click, new, and create 1 null object. Select this design and make it apparent with this null 2. Select this null 2, press S, create 1 keyframe, then press P, create another keyframe, hit U, and let's go somewhere around 3 seconds and we will decrease the size of this null object. Press P and let's move this properly over here like this. Let's enable this title shift action so we can adjust it properly at the center. The reason behind this creating this null object, if you see this outline and if you hit U, we have already created one keyframe at the position. So that's why I want to animate position also, but before you know before this last keyframe. So that's why I have created another null object to animate that. Now I'll select those keyframe and I'll move this over here. I'll select those keyframe and I'll hit F9. I'll go to the graph editor. I'll select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So we will get this kind of stuff like this. And if you want, then you can increase the duration of it. You can select this and you can move this over here also. Okay, now select this outline, hit U. Let's select those last keyframe and make sure to hit F9 like this. Okay, and at this point I'm going to select this text and I'll move this over here, somewhere around over here. And now I'm going to animate the opacity value. Go to the opacity and let's decrease the opacity initially. Go to the rank selector, create one keyframe at the start, go somewhere around over here and let's make this 100. Now select those keyframe and hit F9. Okay, and like this. So I'll get this and then this. Now let's do one thing. Go to this part 1, and as you guys know that we have created one extra element, so simply hit Ctrl C, go over here and simply hit Ctrl V to paste it, and go to the effect and presets panel and apply fill effect on it like this, and select this color also, or even little bit less gray like this, and select this and make it apparent with this null. Make sure that your time indicator is over here. So what will happen along with this, we will get animation for this also. Okay, now after that we will select, or let's say this design text over here, which is this one. Hit U, make sure where is the last keyframe, and now I'll select this and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer, and I'll bring this layer at the top and select this outline and press Alt or close square bracket to remove that. Now what will I'm going to do, I'll select this, I'm going to select my rectangle tool and I'm going to create one mask on it like this. Now select this and hit Ctrl D again, then press M and choose inverted mask. Now select both the layers and hit U, and let's delete all the keyframes. Press P for position, create one keyframe, go somewhere around 6.15 frames. Let's select this, let's move this downwards, let's select this and let's move this upwards like this. Okay, and let's go inside this extra elements. We will hit U, we will bring this keyframes a little bit up to over 9 seconds maybe. Okay, now we will select those keyframes and we will hit F9. Okay, let's bring this up to 6 seconds maybe. Okay, now go over here, select your text tool and we will type another text known as motion. Select this text and we will choose our red color for it. Now select this, press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically, and let's move this over here and let's bring this text over here like this. Now after that I'll go over here and now I'm going to select my rectangle tool. I don't want any stroke, so let's delete the stroke, and for the fill you can choose any color you want like this, and from here to here we will create one mask and press Ctrl Alt Home. So let's go to the start, select this and let's move this over here and press S. Let's unlink this, create one keyframe over here, go around somewhere over here, we will create another keyframe, and at this point I'll make it complete 0 like this. Okay, select those keyframe and hit F9, and if you want you can move this a little bit upward. Okay, now select all the keyframes, hit F9 again, go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, Select this graph. Let's enable this link again. Select this graph, hold shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. And now I'll select this motion text. I'll choose alpha mask. So if we see, we will get something like this. And if you want, then you can bring this a little bit over here, so it will animate a little bit later also. Let's adjust the position of this motion text also properly at the middle. And let's select those keyframes and we will bring them a little bit closer. So if you see, we will get this and then this. Okay, so this is for this. Now after that, I'll select this motion text, then I'll go to the animate option and I'm going to choose position, and initially I'll bring the position downwards. Then I'll go to the range selector, I'll create one keyframe, then go over here, I'll make this total 100. Select those keyframe and hit F9 like this. And if you want, then you can move this a little bit forward also, and select those keyframe and adjust the graph like this. Okay, hit U. So our second portion is also ready. Now press Ctrl Y to create one solid background. Now select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C and let's call it as part 2. Okay, so this is our part 2. Now let's focus on part 1 and the transition. So from the start we will get this animation, and then I want transition over here. So for transition I'm going to choose rounded rectangle and I'm going to choose a little bit of grayish color, and by holding shift I'm going to create one rectangle like this. Go to the rectangle path and increase the roundness like this. Select this, press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally, then align it vertically. Press R for rotation and we will rotate it on 45 degree. Now press S for scaling option and scale it like this. Okay, and we will bring this from here. So let's select this and let's move this over here. Press P, create one keyframe, go a few frames forwards, zoom in a little bit. Let's go somewhere around over here and we will bring this from here to here. Okay, so we will get something like this. Let's select those keyframe and hit F9 like this. Now select this, hit Ctrl D and let's move this over here, and with the help of this fill I'm going to choose a red color. Again select this, hit Ctrl D, let's move this over here and choose white color. Now select these 3 layers again, hit Ctrl D, let's bring them at the top and let's move them from here. Okay, so after doing that we will get this kind of animation, and at this point where my whole screen is covered with these shape layers, I'll select this part 1 and I'll press Alt close bracket like this, and I'll select my part 2. I'll select this and I'll simply move this over here. So I'll get this kind of animation over here. So after transition, if I see this my entire animation, let's choose third resolution. I'll get this, then I'll get this, and then this. So yep, this is going to be my final output. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, and if you like this tutorial then please consider to subscribe this channel and also hit the bell icon to get more updates. And if you want to create some more interesting animations like this, then check out these 2 videos. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, stay tuned.